A few months ago, the Philippine Navy confirmed what many had feared. A Chinese Navy tugboat was spotted just 5 nautical miles from Ayungin Shoal, the contested reef in the West Philippine Sea, where the BRP Sierra Madre, a rusting World War II relic, still clings to its role as Manila's sentinel of sovereignty. The sighting, reported on August 26, 2025, was not an isolated event. It came amid a surge of Chinese maritime activity, including armed rigid-hull inflatable boats, RHIBs, water cannon drills, and aerial surveillance by drones and helicopters. For Manila, this was more than a routine provocation. It was a test, a deliberate probe of the Philippines' red line, the thin boundary between deterrence and disaster. The Sierra Madre's story is as improbable as it is symbolic. Once a humble U.S. Navy landing ship tank, she ferried troops and supplies across the Pacific during World War II. After decades of service, she was transferred to the Philippine Navy in the 1970s, quietly aging in obscurity until 1999, when Manila made a bold, almost cinematic decision: ground the ship on Ayungin Shoal. Not by accident, but by design. It was a message etched in steel. This is ours. We are not backing down. For over 26 years, a small band of Philippine Marines has lived aboard this corroded hulk, enduring Spartan conditions, no air conditioning, limited rations, patchy communications. Yet their presence is a living assertion of sovereignty, a human flag planted in contested waters. Every rotation and resupply mission, known as RORE, is a logistical ballet fraught with risk, often shadowed by Chinese Coast Guard cutters and maritime militia boats. In August 2025, Philippine rubber boats were filmed blocking a Chinese RHIB armed with heavy-caliber weapons from approaching the Sierra Madre, a tense moment that underscored the stakes. Boarding the ship is a red line, declared Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, the Navy's point man for the West Philippine Sea. Geographically, Ayungin Shoal is pure strategic gold. Located 105 nautical miles west of Palawan, it sits well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, EEZ, under the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. Yet it lies perilously close to Mischief Reef, now bristling with Chinese radar towers and missile batteries. To the east is Pag-asa Island, Manila's largest outpost in the Spratlys. Together, these features form a triangle of tension, a maritime chessboard where every move reverberates across Asia. Control of Ayungin is not just about coral and sand, it's about the credibility of the rules-based international order. The 2016 Hague ruling invalidated China's sweeping 9-line claim, affirming the Philippines' rights. Yet Beijing has doubled down, deploying Coast Guard flotillas, maritime militia swarms, and now tugboats. Gray zone tactics designed to erode Manila's resolve without firing a shot. Analysts call it salami slicing, incremental moves that stop short of war but steadily change facts on the water. August 20th, 2025. Philippine surveillance detected 5 Chinese Coast Guard ships, 11 fast boats with mounted weapons, and 9 militia vessels near Ayungin. A Chinese helicopter and drone circled overhead as water cannon drills played out. A show of force after a humiliating collision between Chinese vessels at Scarborough Shoal days earlier. August 26th, 2025. A Chinese Navy tugboat appeared near Sierra Madre. The Philippine Navy downplayed fears of a tow attempt, noting it will take more than 1 tugboat to move her. Still, the symbolism was stark. Beijing was probing Manila's threshold for escalation. These incidents are not isolated. They form a pattern of calibrated coercion and counter-coercion. Each maneuver, each intercepted boat, is a move in a high-stakes game where miscalculation could ignite a regional conflagration. For the Filipino people, losing the BRP Sierra Madre wouldn't just mean giving up a ship. It would mean losing a piece of national pride. And for the rest of the world watching, it would send a chilling message. that gray zone tactics, blockades, tugboats, and slow, silent encroachment can overpower international law through persistence alone. That's why every time a Chinese vessel drifts too close, or every time a Filipino resupply mission faces another blockade, the tension isn't just tactical, it's existential. Because as long as the Sierra Madre stands, rusted, battered, half-sunken, the Philippines still stands with her. She's the heartbeat of sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea, fragile but unbroken. And this is Manila's red line. You've heard the term tossed around in headlines, but what does it really mean out there, on those rough and contested waters? Simply put, the Philippines has drawn a line, not in the sand, but on the reef. If China ever tows, dismantles, or seizes the Sierra Madre, it will be seen as a direct attack on Philippine sovereignty. No gray area, no debate, and Manila's not bluffing. Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, the Navy's man on the ground for the West Philippine Sea, has confirmed that contingency plans are ready. His words were calm, measured, the kind of calm that tells you everything's already in motion. Because defending something this symbolic isn't about shouting louder, it's about being ready when the shouting stops. So why not reveal the plan? That's where strategic ambiguity comes in. A classic Cold War tactic. The idea is simple. Keep your opponent guessing. Never show your full hand. When China doesn't know how far Manila is willing to go, it has to think twice before making a move. Legally, the Philippines' claim couldn't be stronger. Ayungin Shoal lies just 105 nautical miles off Palawan, well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, as defined by the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. And in 2016, the Hague Tribunal made it clear China's sweeping 9-line claim has no legal basis whatsoever. So when Manila says this is our territory, it's not just patriotic, it's backed by international law. But red lines aren't just warnings to adversaries, they're promises to your people and your allies. By drawing that line, Manila is saying two things at once. We will defend what's ours, and we will not be pushed aside again. This isn't about provoking war. It's about preventing one. It's not saber-rattling. It's signaling. A quiet form of deterrence that works not through threats, but through readiness. The kind that makes an opponent wonder, do I really want to find out how far they'll go today? And on the other side of that line, Beijing is testing the limits. A few weeks ago, Filipino surveillance spotted a PLA Navy tugboat loitering near Ayungin Shoal. At first glance, it looked routine, but this wasn't your average Coast Guard ship. It was a heavy-duty tug designed to move large structures. You can see where this is headed. Intelligence officials in Manila quickly flagged it. A potential setup for a towing operation, maybe even an attempt to drag away the Sierra Madre itself. Beijing, of course, denied it, claiming the tugboat was simply there for support operations. But in the world of gray zone warfare, nothing is ever accidental. Every maneuver, every routine patrol carries a message. And this one was clear. They're testing the red line. While China's ships shadow the reef, its propaganda machine works just as hard on land, twisting narratives, shifting blame, and painting the Philippines as the aggressor. It's a familiar playbook, psychological warfare. For domestic audiences, Beijing looks like the stabilizer. For everyone else, the waters get murky. But make no mistake, this isn't about one ship or one shoal. It's a stress test. For Manila's resolve and for the strength of the US-Philippine alliance. Will the Philippines hold its ground? And if things escalate, will Washington really step in? Every close pass, every water cannon burst, every accidental collision is designed to find that answer, without firing a shot. That's the essence of China's gray zone strategy. Push just enough to dominate, but not enough to start a war. Slowly, steadily, normalize control, until resistance feels like overreaction. Over time, fatigue becomes the real weapon. But here's the turning point. Manila isn't backing down. Under the armed forces of the Philippines' modernization program, the country is quietly evolving from a passive player into a capable defender. New missile systems, naval upgrades, and air surveillance assets are reshaping the force. And the world's taking notice. The 2025 Balikatan exercises, the largest in Philippine history, featured live-fire missile tests, amphibious landings, and simulated island defenses, side by side with US forces. This time, the message wasn't whispered. It was broadcast loud and clear. We're ready, and we're not alone. Beyond weapons, Manila's stepping up its presence. Patrols now run regularly across the West Philippine Sea. Philippine aircraft fly daily surveillance missions, and with the integration of US intelligence and satellite systems, commanders can now see real-time data on every move in those contested waters. It's not just David versus Goliath anymore. It's David with a global network behind him. Diplomatically, the Philippines wields the law like a sword, invoking the 2016 Hague ruling and the UNCLOS framework every time China twists the story. And in a powerful shift, Manila now turns transparency into deterrence, releasing videos, photos, and proof to the public. Each viral clip becomes its own form of defense. In today's information war, truth itself is power. And then there's the alliance factor. The Philippines has been strengthening ties not only with the US, but also with Japan and Australia. Joint patrols, coordinated exercises, and shared statements echo across the Indo-Pacific. Together, they send one message: freedom of navigation is non-negotiable. So while China flexes its might with ships and blockades, Manila counters with something far stronger: unity, credibility, and quiet readiness. Because in the long game of the West Philippine Sea, the real power isn't in shouting. It's in staying calm and standing firm. And if that red line is ever crossed, the world will see just how ready the Philippines truly is. The Philippines has turned transparency into a weapon of defense. The moment something happens, expect an instant flood of videos, satellite images, and first-hand accounts hitting the airwaves. The goal? Ignite global outrage and box Beijing in with international pressure. On the US side, Washington's stance couldn't be clearer. Any armed attack on Philippine troops, ships, or aircraft in the South China Sea triggers the Mutual Defense Treaty. That's not speculation. It's official policy, reaffirmed by both President Biden and the Pentagon. But here's the twist. The when and how of US intervention remain deliberately vague. That's strategic ambiguity, a mind game as old as the Cold War. The uncertainty itself is the deterrent. It keeps China guessing, second-guessing, and constantly recalculating the risk of escalation. At its core, this is a high-stakes balancing act. Manila doesn't want war. It can't win one head-on. But showing weakness, that's an open invitation for more aggression. On the flip side, Beijing doesn't want full-blown conflict either. It wants dominance without destruction. So both sides keep dancing in this gray zone, pushing, testing, and pulling back, always one wrong move away from disaster. If China ever succeeds in removing the Sierra Madre, the shock wouldn't just hit Manila. It would echo across all of Southeast Asia. Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia. Each of them would see it as proof that China's so-called peaceful rise is anything but. And that would trigger a regional shift. Expect defense budgets to soar, new military alliances to form, and joint patrols with the US, Japan, and Australia to multiply overnight. One sunken ship could unite an entire region against Beijing's ambitions. And the economic stakes? They're massive. The South China Sea isn't just another patch of ocean. It's the artery of global trade. Over $3 trillion worth of goods pass through its waters every single year. Oil, electronics, food, medicine. If this standoff spirals, it won't just be sailors and coast guards at risk. It could rattle shipping routes, spike global insurance rates, and send shockwaves from Tokyo to Los Angeles. But beneath all the strategy and statistics lies something deeper. This isn't just a territorial dispute. It's a battle between law and power. That rusting hull of the BRP Sierra Madre has become a living symbol of defiance, a lone outpost proving that even a small nation can stand firm on the strength of international law against a giant. Every day that ship clings to that reef, it tells the world one thing: principles still matter. Treaties, rulings, sovereignty. They're not just words. They're the backbone of order in a chaotic world. This is the ultimate test. Can the rules-based order survive when one country decides it's above the rules? The Sierra Madre isn't just a ship anymore. It's a message, carved into rusted steel, that sovereignty endures, even against the tide. For 26 years, she's faced storms, blockades, and intimidation, yet the flag still flies. Manila's red line captures the spirit of this new era. Calm but resolute, measured but unyielding. The Philippines doesn't want war, but it refuses to be bullied. Beijing keeps testing, pushing, probing, both sides knowing one wrong judgment, one rash move, could light the fuse of a regional crisis. As 2025 draws to a close, Ayungin Shoal stands as the most volatile flashpoint in the South China Sea. The Philippines' gamble in 1999 to ground a ship and hold the line has become a crucible for the entire rules-based order in Asia. Whether the Sierra Madre survives another year is uncertain. What is certain is this: her fate will decide not only the Philippines' future, but the credibility of international law in the face of raw power. The world is watching. And in the rusting shadow of a forgotten warship, history waits to be written.